Before you buy another tub of ice cream, there is one label phrase that can tell you it may not be real ice cream. Frozen dairy dessert. Welcome to Golden Menu. Today we are looking at 17 brands shoppers often buy as ice cream, then 8 better choices for anyone who wants real cream, better texture, and a cleaner scoop. Under United States food standards, ice cream must contain at least 10% milk fat. When a product does not meet that standard, companies often turn to sweeteners, vegetable oils, starches, gums, and air to create the texture people expect from ice cream. This is not about never eating a treat again. It is about knowing what is in the tub before it lands in your cart. Before we start the list, tap like so this ice cream guide reaches more shoppers, and subscribe to Golden Menu for clear food label breakdowns every week. Number 17. Great value. Great value is built around price, and that is why many families reach for it. The problem is that the savings often show up directly on the ingredient list. Many flavors use several sweeteners in the same product, including sugar, brown sugar, corn syrup, or molasses. When a frozen dessert needs that much sweetness to carry the flavor, it can be a sign that the dairy base is not doing enough of the work. Texture is the other clue. A cleaner ice cream usually feels dense and smooth. Budget tubs often feel icy, light, or slightly gritty because there is less fat and more frozen water in the bite. Emulsifiers such as mono and diglycerides help hold the product together, but they cannot fully replace the mouthfeel of cream. Great value is not the worst product in the freezer. It is simply a reminder that the lowest price usually comes with a trade. Number 16. Breyers. Breyers once built its reputation on simple ingredients and an all-natural image. That old reputation is exactly why shoppers still trust it quickly. The issue is that many Breyers products no longer sit in the same category as traditional ice cream. Some are sold as frozen dairy desserts, which means the formula follows a different standard than ice cream. When you see that phrase, you should slow down and read the back panel. You may find gums such as Terragum, carabine gum, guar gum, or other stabilizers. These can create a smooth spoonful, but they also tell you the structure is being engineered rather than carried mainly by cream. Breyers also faced legal complaints over vanilla labeling, and a settlement was reached while the company denied wrongdoing. That does not mean every Breyers product is bad. It does mean the brand is a good example of why familiar packaging should not replace label reading. Number 15. Dreyer's, also sold as Edis. Dreyer's has a long history and a real place in American ice cream culture. That history can make the modern ingredient panel feel more disappointing. Some lines have moved toward lighter formulas and frozen dairy dessert labeling. When fat is removed, flavor and texture need help from somewhere else. That help often comes from added sugar, corn syrup, stabilizers, and gums. The slow-churned idea sounds healthy at first because it promises less fat, but less fat does not automatically mean better. If the trade is more sugar and more processing, the nutrition story becomes less impressive. For Golden Menu shoppers, the question is simple. Are you buying a rich dairy dessert, or are you buying a carefully managed texture with a legacy name on the lid? Number 14. Favorite Day. Favorite Day, the Target house brand, looks modern and premium. The design is clean, the flavors sound fun, and the package does a good job of feeling more expensive than it is. But a freezer aisle product should be judged by the spoon, not only by the label design. If a pint melts too quickly, tastes thin, or shows ice crystals early, those are signs that the base may be relying more on sweeteners, starches, or stabilizers
can also be
than
uneven.
on a strong dairy.
With flavors like cookie dough or chocolate chip,
The name creates an expectation. If most spoonfuls taste mostly like plain sweet base, the product is not delivering the experience it advertises. Favorite Day is not a disaster. It is a polished store brand that asks you to look past the packaging and judge the formula. Number 13. Good humor. Good humor is nostalgia in frozen form. The truck, the wrapper, and the strawberry shortcake bar are tied to childhood for many people. That nostalgia can hide how processed some of these bars are. The strawberry shortcake bar is listed as a frozen dessert, and the ingredient list includes non-fat milk, corn syrup, soybean oil, palm oil, coconut oil, gums, artificial flavors, and color additives. One ingredient deserves special attention. Public ingredient listings have shown red number 3 in the strawberry shortcake bar. The Food and Drug Administration moved in January 2025 to revoke authorization for red number 3 in food, with food manufacturers given until January 15, 2027 to reformulate. The agency also stated that the way cancer was seen in certain rat studies does not appear to occur in humans at typical exposure levels. That nuance matters. Still, if a bright-colored frozen treat uses a dye that regulators are phasing out, many shoppers will reasonably choose a simpler option. With good humor, the lesson is to let nostalgia open the door, but let the ingredient list make the decision. Number 12. Blue Ribbon Classics. Blue Ribbon Classics has always been a budget-friendly freezer brand. For years, that was the whole appeal: large tubs, familiar flavors, and a price that made sense for families. The concern is that many budget frozen desserts use the same pattern: less dairy richness, more corn syrup, more vegetable oil, and more stabilizers to hold everything together. If the front label says frozen dairy dessert instead of ice cream, that is your signal to compare it with a brand that still meets the ice cream standard. For a household tub, the quality question is already enough. Budget brands often keep the price low by leaning harder on sweeteners and texture aids than on cream. Number 11. Ben & Jerry's. If this is already changing how you look at the freezer aisle, stay with me. The next brands show why label wording is only one part of the story. Ben & Jerry's is different from several brands on this list because many of its products are rich, dense, and clearly indulgent. The problem is not that it pretends to be thin. The problem is that the health halo around the company can make people overlook the sugar load. Many flavors stack sweeteners in several forms: sugar, liquid sugar, corn syrup, brown sugar, molasses, honey, or sweet mix-ins can all appear depending on the flavor. Some servings can reach very high added sugar numbers before you even consider that most people eat more than the listed serving size. The American Heart Association recommends much lower daily added sugar limits than many dessert lovers realize. A single bowl of a loaded pint can use a large part of that budget very quickly. Ben & Jerry's may still be worth buying when you want a rich dessert. Just do not mistake values-based branding for a lighter nutrition profile. Number 10. Blue Bunny. Blue Bunny has a friendly image and a long freezer aisle history. The formulas, however, often lean heavily on the modern processed dessert toolkit. Many products use corn syrup, gums, modified food starch, artificial colors, or vegetable oils depending on the item. Some are ice cream. Some are frozen dairy desserts. That distinction matters because Blue Bunny covers many different product types under one familiar name. One label does not define every product forever, but when a brand already leans processed, shoppers have good reason to compare it against cleaner labels sitting nearby. Klondike bars are built around a simple promise: a cold square, a crisp coating, and a familiar bite. The concern is that some Klondike products are not built like traditional ice cream bars. Depending on the variety, you may see non-fat milk, coconut oil, corn syrup solids, fructose, gums, and stabilizers doing a lot of the work. That coating also deserves attention. A chocolate-style coating is not always the same as a simple chocolate shell. Vegetable oils can create the snap and melt pattern at a lower cost, but the eating experience is not the same as a higher quality chocolate coating. Klondike is enjoyable for many people, and the brand knows exactly how to deliver nostalgia. But if you are paying premium prices for a bar, Golden Menu would rather see more cream, better cocoa, and fewer structural helpers. Number 8. Turkey Hill. Turkey Hill has many loyal fans, and some of its products still deliver a pleasant classic taste. The reason it appears here is not only formulation. It is label trust. In 2022, Turkey Hill announced a recall of select chocolate marshmallow premium ice cream because some containers may have contained chocolate peanut butter cup ice cream instead. That created an undeclared peanut concern, which is serious for anyone with a peanut allergy. Food recalls can happen even at responsible companies. But allergen mistakes are different from small flavor disappointments. They affect whether a product is safe for certain shoppers to eat at all. Turkey Hill is a brand where you should check the front label, the allergen statement, and the ingredient list every time, especially if you are shopping for a household with allergies. Number 7. Rich. Rich is complicated because the name appears in more than one context. One important clarification is that Rich Products Corporation has publicly stated that it is not affiliated with Rich's Ice Cream Company in Florida. The concern in the original freezer aisle discussion is Rich's Ice Cream Company, the school and vending-focused frozen treat business. That matters because these products are often marketed for schools, vending routes, and children. A frozen treat built for kids should meet a high standard for both nutrition and safety. Many school-friendly desserts can still contain notable added sugar, bright colors, and processed bases. Certification language on a package may tell you the product fits a program. It does not always mean the product is the best everyday choice. Number 6. Friendly's. Friendly's carries a lot of restaurant nostalgia. Many people remember it as a family place first and a grocery freezer brand second. But the ownership and production story has changed over time, and the frozen products today should be judged as modern packaged foods, not childhood memories. Ingredient lists can include high fructose corn syrup, gums, and other additives depending on the flavor. Friendly's also had an allergen recall in 2025 involving cookies and cream ice cream mistakenly packaged in vanilla bean cartons, creating undeclared wheat and soy concerns. In 2024, some Friendly's branded items were also part of a broader Totally Cool recall involving possible listeria contamination across multiple brands. Again, this does not mean every carton should be feared. It means the old emotional trust around the name should be updated with current label reading. Number 5. Blue Bell. Blue Bell is one of the most beloved ice cream names in the American South, which is why its food safety history still matters so much. In 2015, a multi-state listeria outbreak linked to Blue Bell products led to 10 reported illnesses, 10 hospitalizations, and 3 deaths, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The company recalled all of its products then on the market. Later announced that Blue Bell pleaded guilty to distributing adulterated ice cream products and was ordered to pay $17.25 million in criminal penalties. Blue Bell has said it made major safety changes after reopening. That should be acknowledged. But a record involving deaths belongs in any serious shopper conversation. In 2025, Blue Bell also issued an allergen recall after some Millennium Crunch ice cream was packaged in chocolate chip cookie dough cartons, creating undeclared almond, walnut, and pecan concerns. Blue Bell may taste wonderful to loyal fans. Golden Menu is simply saying taste is not the only factor that matters. Number 4. Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen is one of the clearest examples of why words matter. The soft serve most people think of as ice cream does not meet the standard for ice cream because it contains about 5% butterfat, which is below the 10% milk fat requirement for ice cream. Dairy Queen has explained this openly, so this is not hidden in the strict sense. The issue is that many customers still walk in thinking they are buying ice cream. The ingredient list for the soft serve includes corn syrup, mono and diglycerides, artificial flavor, polysorbate 80, and carrageenan. These ingredients help create the texture that makes Dairy Queen famous, but they also show that the product is a formulated soft-serve dessert, not traditional ice cream. If you love a blizzard, enjoy it with clear eyes. It is a treat built for texture, speed, and brand familiarity. It is not a premium ice cream experience. Number 3. Magnum. Magnum is designed to feel luxurious. The packaging, the thick shell, and the flavor names all point toward a premium moment. That is why the ingredient list deserves scrutiny. Some Magnum products include glucose syrup, vegetable oils, emulsifiers, stabilizers, or high fructose corn syrup, depending on the flavor and market. When a product presents itself as luxury, shoppers can reasonably expect a cleaner formula. There is also the nutrition side. A single bar can carry a large amount of saturated fat and added sugar. The American Heart Association recommends aiming for about 13 grams or less of saturated fat per day for someone eating around 2,000 calories. A rich chocolate-coated bar can take up much of that space quickly. Magnum is not pretending to be diet food. The problem is value. If a bar is sold as premium, the ingredient quality should match the image. Number 2. Baskin-Robbins. Baskin-Robbins built its name on choice. 31 flavors made the brand feel like a destination. For packaged take-home products and some shop items, the modern concern is less romantic. Many flavors rely on sweeteners, colors, stabilizers, and processed inclusions. Some products have high added sugar per serving, and serving sizes can be smaller than the way people actually eat ice cream. There has also been shopper frustration around shrinkflation in packaged pints, where a container can look familiar while holding less product than older expectations. Even when the label is technically correct, the experience can feel like less value. Baskin-Robbins still has flavors people love. Golden Menu would treat it as an occasional nostalgic treat, not a model for ingredient quality. Number 1. Halo Top. Halo Top changed the freezer aisle by putting low-calorie counts in large type on the front of the pint. That was powerful marketing because it made an entire container feel permission-based. The problem is the psychology. When a brand teaches people to think of a full pint as normal, the serving conversation changes. A dessert can be lower in calories and still encourage overeating. Halo Top has often relied on sugar alcohols, such as erythritol, to deliver sweetness hard on digestion for some people, and recent research has raised questions about higher erythritol exposure and cardiovascular risk. That is exactly the kind of nuance shoppers deserve. It is not proof that one Halo Top pint is dangerous. It is a reason to be cautious with products that encourage frequent high-volume consumption of alternative sweeteners. Halo Top earns the top concern spot because it sells a behavior, not only a dessert. It tells you the number on the front matters more than the pattern it creates. Now let us turn the freezer door around. If you have been waiting for the safer picks, this is the part to watch closely. These are the brands Golden Menu would actually compare first. These 8 brands are not perfect for every diet or every budget. They simply make choices that are easier to understand. More cream, clearer labels, better texture, and fewer tricks. Best option number 8. Van Leeuwen. Van Leeuwen started with a simple idea. Use recognizable ingredients and let the dairy carry the dessert. Many of its classic ice creams use milk, cream, cane sugar, egg yolks, and real flavor ingredients. The result is a dense pint that tastes closer to old-style ice cream than many mass-market tubs. Van Leeuwen also makes non-dairy products, so shoppers still need to read the exact label. But when you choose from the classic dairy line, the ingredient philosophy is much easier to respect than a long list of oils, syrups, and gums. Best option number 7. Graters. Graters has a long history and a signature French pot process that creates a dense texture with less air. That density matters. A pint that resists the spoon usually has more real body. It melts more slowly, feels richer, and does not need to fake thickness with a long stabilizer list. Graters is more expensive than everyday supermarket brands, so it is not the budget answer. It is the answer when you want a traditional premium pint that tastes like it was made with patience. Best option number 6, Salt and Straw. Salt and Straw treats ice cream like a culinary product, not only a sweet frozen base. The flavors can be unusual, but the important part is that the brand builds each flavor around actual ingredients and a clear idea. Olive oil, fruit, chocolate, spices, baked inclusions, and seasonal menus are part of the appeal. This is a premium choice, and some flavors will not be for everyone. But if you want ice cream that feels designed rather than diluted, Salt and Straw is one of the more interesting options in the freezer. Best option number 5, Tillamook. Tillamook is one of the strongest everyday recommendations, because it balances quality, availability, and price. The brand is connected to a farmer-owned cooperative, and its ice cream line has a reputation for real dairy richness without leaning on high-fructose corn syrup or artificial flavors in many core products. The tubs are generous, the texture is creamy, and the mix-ins usually feel present rather than decorative. Tillamook is not the fanciest pint on the shelf. That is exactly why it is useful. It is the kind of product a normal shopper can buy often without feeling like quality disappeared. Best option number 4. Strauss. Strauss is for shoppers who care about organic ingredients and a cleaner dairy base. The brand uses organic cream, milk, sugar, egg yolks, and real flavor ingredients in its classic formulas. The result is dense, smooth, and simple, in a way that processed frozen desserts struggle to copy. Strauss costs more and may not be available everywhere, but when you find it, the label gives you very little to decode. That is a compliment. Best option number 3. Häagen-Dazs Classics. Häagen-Dazs earns its place because the classic flavors keep the ingredient list short. Vanilla, chocolate, coffee, and other core flavors are often built around cream, milk, sugar, egg yolks, and stabilizer parade is needed when the base is strong. The word classics matters. Some newer or more elaborate products can have longer ingredient lists, so do not assume every item is the same. But if you want a widely available pint with a serious dairy base, Häagen-Dazs Classics remains one of the safest bets. Best option number 2, Talenti. Talenti is gelato, not ice cream, so the standard is different. That does not make it worse. It simply means you should understand what you are buying. Gelato is usually churned with less air and served a little warmer, which gives it a denser feel and stronger flavor. Talenti made that style easy to find in regular grocery stores. The clear jars also help shoppers see the texture and mix-ins before buying. That transparency is a small thing, but it supports a better shopping experience. Talenti can still be sweet, and some flavors are richer than others. But compared with many frozen dairy desserts, it often feels like a more honest product. Best option number 1, Jenny Splendid Ice Creams. Jenny Splendid Ice Creams is the premium experience pick. The brand is known for thoughtful flavor design, high-quality dairy, and combinations that feel like a pastry chef had a real point of view. Flavors such as salty caramel, brambleberry crisp, and brown butter almond brittle have a depth that most mass-market brands do not attempt. Jenny uses a distinctive base and careful sourcing, so the price is higher. This is not the tub you buy when you only want the cheapest dessert after dinner. It is the pint you buy when you want the dessert itself to be the event. For the best everyday balance, Golden Menu would point most shoppers toward Tillamook. For the bestest special occasion pint, Jenny Splendid Ice Creams is the standout. Here is the freezer aisle checklist. First, look at the front of the container. If it says ice cream, it has to meet the ice cream standard. If it says frozen dairy dessert, it follows a different path. Second, turn the package around. Look for the first few ingredients. A stronger choice usually starts with milk, cream, or both. A weaker choice may start with non-fat milk, water, corn syrup, vegetable oil, or several sweeteners stacked together. Third, scan for structure helpers: guar gum, tarra gum, locust bean gum, carob bean gum, xanthan gum, carrageenan, modified food starch, mono and diglycerides, and polysorbate 80 are not automatic deal breakers, but when several appear together, they are often doing work that cream would normally do. Fourth, check sugar and saturated fat. Dessert can be dessert, but the numbers still count. If one serving uses a large part of your daily added sugar or saturated fat target, treat it like an occasional product. Fifth, look at safety and allergen history when a brand has repeated recalls. Mislabeling is especially serious for households with allergies. Real ice cream still exists. It is in the same freezer aisle as the products trying to imitate it. The difference is that now you know what to look for. 10% milk fat. The words frozen dairy dessert. The ingredient list behind the pretty package. That is the small label habit that can change every trip to the freezer aisle. This is Golden Menu. Read the front, read the back, and let the spoon be the final test. If this guide helped you, like the video, subscribe for the next food label breakdown, and comment with the ice cream brand you want Golden Menu to check next.